Hello and thank you for joining us. This is the End User Report and we are your hosts. I am Clarence and next to me is the man who on the weekends body doubles for CeeLo.
Thank you. I was told to pause, so I'm pausing. Hello, my name's Jamal.
Yeah, he's also a tool. Anyways, Sunday, February 20th, 2011, today's show. Going to talk about a couple things. The Zoom goes official. Watson moves into healthcare, and, well, we're going to spend some time talking about the Sony Ericsson Xperia Play. It rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does.
But let's start this off. We've been talking about this over the past couple weeks, and it's finally over. Motorola finally gave an official price to the Zoom this week. They say that the 3G, 4G version is going to cost $799, and the Wi-Fi only version is going to cost you about $600. Those are 32 gigabytes of space. I know last week on the show you said it was a little bit pricey. Is there any change to your stance now that we know the price is actually official?
It's always been pricey, these devices, but like I said last week, you're going to have to pay to play, and I think it's right in the ballpark of what most of these smart tablets are going for these days. So, yeah, it's competitively priced.
Well, honestly, I'm just glad the whole thing is over. I'm tired of the articles, the speculation. It's going to cost this much. It's going to cost this much. The only thing that I found more tiring than this is the whole Carmelo Anthony trade talk. All right, so I do feel a little bit better about the price knowing that it's official. Mm-hmm. The Wi-Fi only version matches up with its iPad counterpart exactly, and you're talking only $70 more than the iPad for the 4G version. And I think that could actually be a selling point.
Mm-hmm.
$70 more to get you a 4G tablet. So I think it's good that it's just finally over. Frankly, I'm exhausted. But
I wasn't.
Well, that's because you're too busy playing Cooking Mama. But let's get into why we're here today. Yeah. This week, it was, the Sony Ericsson Xperia Play was unveiled. This is the first PlayStation certified phone, and people think that this is going to be a real game changer because this is a smartphone / mobile game system hybrid. I believe, Jamal, you've got the stats on this.
Yes, let's go over some of the stats. Really quickly, 5-point megapixel camera. Doesn't have a front-facing camera, which I don't think everyone really needs in a playing device in the phone, I guess. It comes with internal memory of 400 megabytes. It is shipped with 8 gigabyte of external memory, which you can bring it up to 32 gigabytes. It does offer the Android 2.3 Gingerbread operating system, 1 gigahertz Scorpion processor, ARM version 7 processor to be exact. GSM, GPRS. You're looking at talk time of 7 to 8 hours. Game time, roughly 5 hours, and then if you just want to play MP3s on it, they're talking about 30 hours. So pretty decent battery life on this particular device. That's it with the specs. I'm sure there's more in-depth specs, but these are the ones that really are clearly that most people are looking for. So
I'm just going to add a little bit to the specs. It also is running the Bravia engine, so playback is going to be pretty good. Verizon has been chosen as the first U.S. carrier, with maybe AT&T joining in later in the year. As of right now, there's a list of about 20 or so content providers, those including Sony Entertainment, obviously, and Namco Bandai, with about 50 games available at launch. So what are your thoughts as far as the...
Right now, you said it's a game changer. I don't think it's a game changer. That's just my feeling. First thing, it lacks internal memory. 400 megabytes of internal memory, that seems kind of small for a particular phone. I think that, some phones are rocking 8 gigabytes, 16 gigabytes. 400 megabytes is kind of chintzy, small, tiny, tiny, tiny.
I think they got that.
Yeah, I think so too. 1 gigahertz Snapdragon processor. I know we had a discussion whether or not this is dual core or not. If it doesn't say dual core, I'm just going to assume that it's not dual core. Hopefully, it is a dual core processor in it. Otherwise, I think 1 GHz single core. I don't know if that's really going to handle. The biggest thing to me is it's a gingerbread phone. It's not a honeycomb phone. So I don't know how much a game changer that is, but to me, I think that's a.
I don't know if it's going to be a game changer. I don't think it's going to be a bad device. I actually think it's going to be pretty good. Whether or not it's going to change the whole smartphone market, I really don't know at this time. But firstly, let's call this what people are going to refer to it as, and that's the PlayStation phone. I think the reason why Sony probably didn't market it as the PlayStation phone, I don't think this is focused on hardcore gamers. I really don't. Looking at the specs, they obviously scaled back on some of these specs, probably to make it a smaller device, so it's not such a bulky thing.
But if you look at the Sony Ericsson official page, release page, they say that this phone is geared for the casual player and the hardcore player. So I don't know where the direction is there.
No, they're not. It's obviously not geared towards the hardcore. Yeah. I do like the design of it. It almost looks like a BlackBerry Storm. You can actually push your screen up. You've got a full control pad there with analog controls and buttons. We've all heard of game system / phone before. I think a lot of us out there remember the N-Cage.
N-Gage, yeah, that was...
I don't think that's a fair comparison. I think anyone who makes that comparison is an overzealous IT guy. Okay, seriously, move out of your parents' garage, stop eating Tostino's Pizza Rolls as full meals. Okay, that whole thing with the N-Gage was a design flaw. That I don't think is it's not gonna suffer the same thing.
The concept was there though. I mean, having a phone that played games, but there are phones already out there that do play games. They just don't play PlayStation games.
Well,
right?
Well, they don't play PlayStation games, but again, this is going to have Gingerbread, so it's going to have access to the PlayStation Suite.
Yeah,
which is kind of nice. The one downside I do see with this is the fact that a lot of people who have PS3s and have purchased content, you're going to have to repurchase it because it doesn't play on this phone.
Sorry.
So I don't think this is exactly what gamers are expecting. This isn't a PS3 Lite plus a phone. No. It's not going to give you the same kind of gaming experience as a PSP2
or if you have a PSP Go and you already purchased the titles on the PlayStation Cloud, you can't go with the Xperia Play and think that the titles that you purchased with your Go are going to load onto your Play. You'll have to actually repurchase those games. Am I hearing this correct?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as we know right now, you are going to have to repurchase
just a heads up
games.
For anyone who thinks that, I can get this phone and all the titles that I have on my Go are going to be on this phone.
But one thing to remember, at the end of the day, this is a phone. Okay, it's a phone that can play games, certainly, but at the end of the day, it is a phone. I think that the OS is going to make it a good smartphone, and I think that the gaming side of it is going to make it a decent game content phone, but again, it's not going to replace your home console, definitely isn't going to replace your portable console, but I think it's definitely a phone that anybody out there who's considering getting a new smartphone, I think this is one that you'll want to take a look at.
Well, this definitely is... if you look at it from perspective that it will change in some ways of how people look at phones now, in terms of now you can, as a consumer, and that's what I'm all about, is choice as a consumer. You have a choice of getting a business smartphone, or you have a choice of getting a gaming smartphone now, and I think this is really a plus for the consumer, in my opinion. So whether or not you like gaming, well, you don't have to or buy the phone, or you want to buy the phone. It depends on what your interest is as the phone. But you're right. At the end of the day, this should be a phone. It should make phone calls.
Well, yeah.
But, I mean, if you want, in my opinion, if you want a really good handheld gaming device, I would wait for the NGP to come out, which we talked about in an earlier podcast. And I think that's going to play all your PlayStation titles. It'll have the PSP Go titles from the cloud.
And PS, it's probably going to get hacked and you'll be able to use it as a phone anyways. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, now, there was no official pricing, and we had concern about this, and we kind of looked up the pricing that's going to be when O2 comes out, and then we don't know if it's subsidized or unsubsidized, but we're looking at 549 pounds, which kind of roughly converts to around $892 in U.S. currency. So That's kind of up there, but we're probably thinking, we're speculating that it'll probably around $299
with a 2-year contract, most likely.
We have subsidized the $299 with a contract. So that's our prediction anyway. That when it comes to the States, it'll probably be that much. So, but
we definitely think it's a device worth checking out. So keep it in your mind when you're out there looking for smartphones. When your upgrade is up with Verizon.
Yeah. The important thing is, I think Sony has the backing of the developers in this. They have EA, they have GameLoft, very strong developers, and I think if anything, that'll be the success of this particular phone.
Yeah, just don't expect to play Uncharted 2 or 3 on this.
But you can play Sims in FIFA 2010.
Yeah.
Just don't hit your head with a Sims thing. Did you see that commercial?
I did not see that commercial.
Oh, it's bad.
All right, but let's move on to our next segment we call the Smash Up. If you've watched the show before, you know how we do this. 5 headlines, 5 quick answers, and our camera girl is going to read us the headlines.
And I don't even know what the questions are.
Reports are that Apple is considering coming out with its own line of televisions.
Yeah, that's great. That's what we need is another device with a piece of fruit on it.
Would you say coming out? I thought you were saying Steve Jobs was coming out of the closet. Oh, the TVs. Oh, yeah.
Any chance you get to bash Apple, dude.
I think it's a great idea. If you're an Apple fan, and this is what you this hopefully it's going to integrate with all of your Apple devices. So more to it. It'll probably cost an arm and a leg, but
yeah, it will. Plus, then you can overpay for content on it too.
19-year-old Corey Christian Adams admits to trying to hire a hitman on Facebook.
Fail.
Okay, apparently this guy failed Facebook 101 because this is what happens when you post something on Facebook. It becomes public consumption. Mm-hmm. Hiring a hitman might not be something you want to do. That's usually something you want to keep under wraps, maybe in a dark alley. Usually there's a lot of money involved, and that's the end of it.
I think he failed because he was too chicken crap. I have to keep it in PG to do it himself.
That's probably it.
RIM says that its tablet, the Playbook, will be able to access the Android marketplace.
If that's true, I think that's wonderful. If there's one thing that we've seen with RIM, they've had an issue with their marketplace for some time now. If they can access the Android market, I think that could be a big boon for them.
I think so too. Good job, RIM, if that's what you're looking to do. Because the BlackBerry market sucks.
Yeah, it does.
R.I.P. IBM's Watson is now expected to be used in healthcare.
All right. Well, I guess he beat the guys in Jeopardy. What next? Healthcare.
Yeah, he beat those guys, and he beat Ken Jennings down like it was an online match of Street Fighter 4. But is anyone else concerned here? I got one word just to put in everybody's mind. Skynet. Okay? I'm a little concerned. Next thing you know, there's going to be freaking T-800s out there, and they're going to be gunning humans down.
I'm looking at it like this. Hopefully my medical bills will go down because I don't have to hire a doctor and he has to pay this.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to pay for the machine that's going to be a medical assistant. By the way, Watson got 2 questions wrong on Jeopardy. I don't know if anybody knows that.
Hey, sometimes computers are fallible.
I'm just
not like the Pope.
Get 100%. Do better. IBM.
I bet the Pope would do better than Watson.
I think so.
Because he's infallible.
You trying to set up a death match?
That would be good.
Skynet versus the Pope.
Watson versus the Pope.
A nun's Facebook habit gets her banished from her order.
Nun's gone Facebook. What next?
You know, I'm a little upset with this whole thing. I actually read the article on this one. 35 years that this woman put in, and all she was doing was spreading her word and beliefs, and that's what nuns, I believe, are supposed to do. And they say, you know what? Get out of here. I don't agree with it, but apparently her Facebook habit cost her her habit.
But you know what? Probably the best thing that ever happened to her was getting kicked out of her order. Seriously. Have you ever been a nun? That was the best thing that ever happened to you, girl.
Where are you even going with that? Just want to say the religious beliefs of Jamal are not that of the End User Report. But that wraps it up for us.
You go, girl. All right.
You're gonna friend request her now, aren't you?
I'm gonna friend request her.
But that wraps it up for us here at the End User Report. Again, you can always follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And don't forget to comment and subscribe on YouTube.
Peace out.